Hello everybody, Ian, Starship Adventures, and on today's adventure, we're going to talk about all the different ways that you can adventure on your radio. And we're going to talk mostly about amateur radio today and the on-the-air programs. If you thought POTA and maybe SOTA was all there was out there, there's more than 15 of these OTAs out there, and we're going to talk about all of them in this episode of Starship Adventures. So stick with us as we go through each one. OTAs are great because what they do is they help find reasons to get people to put a mic in their hand and key it up and talk on it. And I think that's so important. A lot of times people, and I fall in this category, go on the air and call CQ and can't find anybody, and it's very discouraging. And so what I like to do is find reasons to get on the air and find places where other people have the same reason I do and they're trying to get a hold of me. It makes the radio sport a lot more fun. It makes the radio hobby a lot more interesting. And I think that's why the OTA programs have become somewhat popular over the last 5 years or so in amateur radio. Most of them are geared to help you to prepare yourself for remote operation. They're geared to get you out, get you operating, and things like that. So they're really good reasons to go do this stuff. So let's get right into it. What's the very first one? Like I said, these are not in necessarily any particular order, but I will tell you the number one right now is POTA, Parks on the Air. I do parks. I activate parks. I'm having a real good time with Parks on the Air. Strongly recommend that one. And I think it would be really cool to see this one continue to grow to the point that it becomes just as mainstream as FT8 and things like that in amateur radio. Basically, on POTA, if you want to be a hunter, you can do it from your shack, you can do it from your car, you can do it from your grandma's house. Doesn't matter. You wherever you're going to go, you set up and you pull up the website and it tells you what frequency they're on. You go there, you see if you can hear them, you call out for them. And you make contacts, and then they log it on their end. And then when you go home, you can just go up on your sign-in for POTA, and there it is right there. You can put it in your logbook later. Even if you're driving, you don't have to write it down. Just put it in your logbook later. No big deal. That's what I like about POTA. Now, if you're activating, the paperwork's on you. And when I activate, I'm very particular. I have an app that I use, a very good app on my tablet. And I go in there and just, it's really cool. You can put in park to park when they call, and all your information goes in there. We work multiple parks. I have a friend, Joseph, that we'll go work parks together, and we'll work one log, and we'll just both call out for each person on the air. And then we just dupe that log and change the call sign in the Cabriello header, and we're done. Both of us get those in. They both get in. Everybody gets credit for our contact, and it works out really well. So yeah, Parks on the Air. It just promotes outdoor activity. It gets people out to our county and state. I don't think there's county, state and federal parks. There is a lot of parks on there. I wish they would put some bigger county parks and stuff on there. It may be coming. But basically, Parks on the Air is a great way to get people outdoors, to get them on the air. Now, what do they normally use? Well, anything. They do it with FT8 and FT4. They do it with JS8 Call. I've seen them do it with CW. But the most popular is phone, which is probably the reason I like it. I really prefer to still operate a lot of phone. 20 and 40 meters are the most popular bands, but you can go on the spotting software and you can look and see where everybody's at. And then once you pick your band and you get all tuned up, then sort by that band so you can just see people on that band. And I'll give you another trick in POTA. If you're going to hunt, sort your contacts by frequency. And that way you don't have to run up and down the VFO all the time. You go to, to 2.286, nobody there, dot 325, nobody there, dot 328, and you work your way up the VFO by sorting by frequency instead of sorting by time, which is the default. So try that next time you go hunting POTA. There's an awards based system with POTA as well. I've won a bunch of them. I don't know what they are, but you can check all that out. There is a website. All the websites for all of the things I'm going to mention today will be in the description. A very long description on this video, and it's going to have all of that stuff in it. So look for it. All right, let's talk about the next one. A lot of people already know about POTA, and POTA is by far the best, the one that's out front. But there's some others. Let's talk about SOTA, Summits on the Air. Now, this is one I wanted to get involved with. And I signed up and I was going to get involved with it. And then I realized it's basically a club for the physically fit. It's kind of unfortunate. I really wanted to do it, but okay. I can't hike up hills, okay? And they purposely won't pick summits that you can drive to. So it's basically for the physically fit. I don't like things that exclude groups of people. You know, we don't exclude people because they're black or because they're Hispanic or because they're white. We don't exclude people because they're male or female or transgender. We don't exclude people for all these different reasons, but they'll exclude you because you're not physically fit. Or they'll exclude you because you've got young, fresh ideas. Or they'll exclude you because you're not old enough. You're not 65 or older, 55 or older. I find that a lot in ham radio. There's a lot of gatekeeping, and I really don't like that. Everyone should be allowed to participate. After I joined SOTA, I tried to get one of my favorite places in the world called Buck Bald in Tennessee. It's a huge summit. It's way up high. It's completely bald at the top. You can drive up to the top. There's a great spot there to hook up your radios. There's no electricity for miles. There's not a bathroom. There's nothing. It's rugged, but you can drive to the summit. And for that, forget it. They would not approve that summit for me so that we could go activate it on vacation because I go up there a lot and I would like to activate it. So the drawback, it's gatekeeping. Accessibility, they want it to be hard to get to. That's the thing. So what do? Well, you can't fight City Hall. That's the way they wanted to set it up. That's completely their right to set it up that way. So I just skip on down the list and go to the next one. So if you're physically fit, you have hiking gear, maybe some ropes, and some gear that you can carry in a battery and a solar panel. Go to the Summits on the Air website. The website's in the description. I'm not much on it, but I'm still going to put it in there because you guys might like it. The next one, IOTA. I like that one. Islands on the Air. Islands on the Air. They operate exclusively from islands, exotic islands. People actually will travel around the world to go to an exotic island and be one of the few that's ever operated from a remote exotic island. That's pretty cool. This is a lot more niche. There's going to be a lot less people involved in this, but the contacts are going to be sweet. So this is one I would look into if I was you. Islands on the Air, IOTA. Description for link. A challenge of transporting equipment via boats and ferries and things like that. They use HF mostly, and they specialize in DX contacting a lot on these islands. There is an accumulating awards program with IOTA, just like with most of them, and some islands are only activated one time a year, or maybe have only been activated once ever. So that's what makes IOTA really cool. It's more exclusive only because of how hard it is to get there and how hard it is to reach these people. But there you go. What a great place. And I believe on IOTA, just about any island will do, which I think is awesome. The next one, I don't normally promote a lot of ARRL stuff because I think that whole organization is just literally a dumpster fire. So I don't normally do it, but I will on this one. I participated in this one a few times, not as a volunteer, but as a hunter. And if I hear these guys on, I will answer them. I hold no hate or malice. I'm just not a big ARRL fan. I don't think they do much for amateur radio. But that being said, they've got VOTA, Volunteers on the Air, and they're celebrating ARRL's volunteers and their contributions to amateur radio over the years. Remember, it's not celebrating the 7 million that we pay in salaries to the paid people. It's the volunteers we're celebrating here. The volunteers, I say. Special event station and call sign dedication to volunteers. They dedicate stations under specific call signs, and they do different things. But they'll say CQ VOTA, and you'll know that that's a VOTA station. You can find out more, I'm sure, on the ARRL website, but don't try to find it directly. Go to Google and search for it, and then find it that way. It's easier. I can't find anything on the ARRL website unless I go out to Google and search for it, and it brings me back in. That's how I usually find stuff on there. These are special event stations. They only operate for a certain amount of time. They'll normally put out 20 or 30 of them and put them on for a week or whatever. You can earn awards through VOTA, and it's basically acknowledging the importance of volunteerism and sustaining ham radio, and I couldn't agree more. Philanthropy is how we've survived here in ham radio, and that whether that's volunteering your money or your time, it's the same. Okay, and we've got LOTA. Anybody want to guess what that one is? Lighthouse is on the air. I love lighthouses. I have a little bit of a thing for lighthouses. And so this is one I have not done or gotten involved with. But I think one day I'm going to go and activate a lighthouse. I think that would be absolutely amazing. I would love to do the St. Augustine Light. I love that lighthouse up in St. Augustine. It's haunted as hell. It would be a great one to do. And so I may get involved in it. This is the one I kind of think the next one I'm going to get involved with. Lighthouses on the Air. They broadcast from historic lighthouses to raise awareness in the preservation and heritage of these old lights. And I got to tell you, there is so much history with lighthouses. They kept our ships safe for hundreds of years. And many of them still survive, whether it's a built lighthouse on the shore or a screw pile lighthouse that's 5 miles off the coast. These lighthouses kept our ships off of shoals and off of shallows for a long time, and there's a lot of history there. They were tended by people 24 hours a day that lived there, that had to cart the oil up to the light. Just a great, rich history in lighthouses. So that's the one I'm doing next. They combine scenic locations with ham radio. Great combination. Most of these do, by the way. And you do need to seek permission from lighthouse people. Don't just show up and start stringing wires off the lighthouse. For God's sake, that kind of go. Some of these parks on the air, a lot of these, you don't need to talk to anybody. You can do what you want. But at lighthouses, it's generally a little smaller. And I would go talk to someone. That's all. Just make sure you're cool. Use portable setups, of course, supporting lighthouse preservation efforts. That's the main thing. Maybe get with your local lighthouse and do an op to bring awareness to the lighthouse or something. You know, I love lighthouses. Amazing. The next one, BOTA. Any suggestions? Well, it's two B's. They call it BOTA with one B, but it's actually boats and beaches on the air. It's basically both. I've heard it called boats on the air, and I've heard it called beaches on the air. I guess it depends on what you're actually in at that moment. But it operates from boats or from beachfront locations anywhere in the world. Saltwater environments can impact equipment, so that's one of the drawbacks with this. It makes it more difficult, and it requires, either weatherproofing your gear or just being very careful with your gear. Saltwater enhances radio propagation. I've heard people set up on the beach and they run a wire down and put it in the water, and put up a vertical or something. So I think there's some cool things that could be done in boats and on beaches and on docks and things like that. And that would all be BOTA, boats and beaches on the air. Against link for that will be down in the description. The next one is probably one of the more, how do you want to say it, unique ones. and probably one of the ones that I think is probably should win the award for creativity. This one is Walmart's parking lots on the air, and it's WMPLOTA. I love that. So WMPLOTA, which is what I call, I don't know if they call it that, but I call it WMPLOTA, WMPLOTA, which is Walmart parking lots on the air. In this, you literally pull up into a parking lot, set up your little mini portable antenna, and you activate a Walmart parking lot on HF. I think that's pretty cool. And you can find out more about that. It's humorous, but it's real. The activity involves operations from Walmart parking lots. It's very lighthearted, and it usually has a lot of casual conversation. And one of the neat things about this, it was started by Walmart employees, and you'll find a lot of Walmart employees activating their own parking lots after work. I think that's pretty cool. And so that's called WMPLOTA, or Plota, parking lots on the air, Walmart parking lots on the air. And let's see here. Here's another one that's really cool. It's kind of hard to find any of these locations around my neighborhood. How about Castles on the Air? COTA, 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 Castles on the Air. Overview, okay, basically operating from historic castles or fortified structures around the world. This one's big in Europe. You can imagine. I mean, that's where most of the castles are. But it again, we're mashing history and ham radio. Most of your history people and your ham radio people, a lot of them are the same people, which is really cool. And it also, on this one again, you have to get permission for these castles, unless you're just sure that you can go there and not get in trouble. And remember, you don't have to climb on the castle to activate the castle, okay? You can just like put you in the parking lot. Operating from historic castles. Let's see, combining history, ham radio, permission from the site is important, and point system for activating and contacting people is provided on COTA. Link in the description. The next one, Yoda. Yeah. Interesting. It is. No, it's not that Yoda. This is Youngsters on the Air, okay? And this one's pretty cool. This one is a program aimed at engineering younger generations and getting them involved in amateur radio. It's a youth-operated special event station, workshops, and contests. And they all do it under the call sign CQ COTA, or Yoda, YOTA, Yoda, Youngsters on the Air. And passing on the hobby to the next generation is their tagline. The highlight here is the initiatives to support Yoda come from both the ARRL, the IARU, and international groups around the world. So there's a lot of support there for Yoda. That's Youngsters on the Air. Check it out. Link in the description. The next one, SCOTA. And no, it's not the Supreme Court of the United States of America, that although it's the same. Anyway, this is SCOTA, SCOTA, and it is Scout Camps on the Air. And this one is, again, promoting amateur radio through scouting, and it's done at camps while the kids are at camp, and it's done on portable power and all the usual stuff you would expect. It introduces a lot of scouts at a camping group, like at a jamboree or whatever, to how basic operations work, and they can show their equipment and get them all on the air to make contact or whatever. And also the next one, JOTA, which is Jamboree on the Air. This one is specifically, I think the Boy Scouts of America does this one. Both SCOTA and JOTA work together, and they actually do a lot of their stuff together. So that's a cooperative deal. They're both SCOTA, Scout Camps on the Air, and JOTA, Jamboree on the Air. If you have a son that's a scout and you want to help them get involved, get with JOTA or SCOTA and see what the deal is there, and see if you can activate your son's next camping outing with his scout group. That would be really cool. All right, there's a lot of neat things. There's a couple more. National parks on the air. This is like POTA, but this is POTA. we're missing a vowel on this one. I don't know what to tell you. It's NPOTA, I think is what I'm going to call this one. NPOTA, NPOTA, National Parks on the Air. In the past, the ARR has sponsored the event celebrating the National Park Service and encouraging portable operations from U.S. national parks. Now, I also know that if you do NPOTA, those are also in POTA, and you can activate both. Through the official event that ended, many HEMs have activated parks under the system. I'm not sure exactly when they're doing this again. This sounds like something they do from time to time. And again, it combines history, radio experience, nature, and outdoor operations all at the same thing. All stuff that we love, right? And the next one, SHOTA. Oh, what could that be? That doesn't sound good. No, it is. It's Schools on the Air. I guess they couldn't call it soda, so they threw an H in there. It's SHOTA, Schools on the Air. Overview, activities designed to introduce students to amateur radio in school environments. These are for clubs and groups in schools, run by teachers and instructors, and they have the actual radios in the classroom. MSOTA. Any suggestions on that one? Mills on the Air, operating amateur radio from historic water mills and windmills. Yes, it gets obscure, but there's these people out there, and I think that's really cool. Again, keeping the history alive, finding reasons to get on the air, meeting new folks, okay? It's all really, really good. Highlights the importance of preserving historic mills, water mills, and windmills while enjoying ham radio. Again, portable rigs. It's a portable rig operation. Coordinate with mill owners to ensure you have access to the site. Most of them, if they're wanting to save it or keep it going, will want to get with you and do this as just one more thing that doesn't cost them anything, but brings awareness to their site that they're trying to preserve. And most of them are in for that. DXpeditions. That's DX on the Air. Okay, DX on the Air, operating from remote and rare locations, often targeting uninhabited islands or countries with few operators. It provides opportunities for others in ham radio, like you at your shack, to be able to log remote locations. Like, they get on these islands out there, and that island's the only thing in that grid square. So you would never get that grid square unless someone was on that island. And so there's neat stuff like that goes on. It involves extensive logistics, including travel arrangements, permits, gear, transport. Not an easy one to do, but man, Ham Radio Newsline every week lists the DXpeditioners that are out there, and that's worth checking out on Ham Radio Newsline. All right, let's see here. It's a rarity and a technical challenge. It makes the operations highly sought after because of the remote locations. Okay, the next one, FOTA. FOTA. Yeah, all these are real. The links are down there. I don't know what to tell you. They're all real. Farms on the Air. This one's pretty cool. These are guys actually activating their own farms and rural locations, often as a way to combine agricultural outreach and radio. This is where we can take your local agricultural fair, which many people only associate with a Ferris wheel nowadays, okay? But you could take your local agricultural fair, which used to be a big important thing, and add ham radio to that using the Farms on the Air program. You also have another one, HOTA. No, it's not what you're thinking. There's 2 or 3 of you dirty folks out there like me that thought something when I said HOTA. It's not what you think. It's not prostitutes on the air or anything like that. This one is huts on the air. Yes, huts. I mean, I would like to call CQ from Gilligan and the Skipper's Hut on the island. That's what I would like to do. I think that would be really cool. This is called Huts on the Air. Maybe I could do islands and huts at the same time with that one, huh? But anyway, Huts on the Air, really cool idea there. This is activating remote huts cabins, and shelters, often in wilderness settings. Similarities to SOTA combines portable operation with hiking and exploration. Its lightweight, durable equipment is essential, and it takes a lot of planning and logistics to do these. So, guys, there's plenty of reasons to get involved in ham radio. They're out there. You know, trust me, I get it that a lot of these clubs are just the shit, and a lot of them are just shit. It just depends on where you're at and what club you luck up in getting involved in. It kind of sucks sometimes, but it is what it is. I think the best thing for you to do is to get involved in these things. These are easy. You can work most of these from your home. And then if you find one you like, you can then go out and become an activator on the other end, on the difficult end, if you will. I don't recommend that new folks immediately get involved in contesting, DXing and all these weird things. I love that stuff. I contest myself, but I think you should do it for 6 months or a year. Get in POTA, make some contacts, get used to your rig and all that, and then start looking at some of these other things down the road. And these are a great way to start. They're a great way to get your foot in the water, find a reason to talk to people, get on there and call them. It's no pressure mic time. They're not going to be, these are not contests where they're going to be yelling at you if you don't say the exchange quick enough. I've never really seen that anyway, to be honest with you, but I love these different ones, especially POTA. And like I said, I'm going to get into that Lighthouse one next, but these are great. I love POTA. So try them out. Find a reason to get on the air. I just started doing HF Mobile about 3 months ago, and I love it. Who would have thought putting my FT100 in my van with a vertical on the roof would have been so much fun? I'm dialing around, hunting POTA on my way to work. I keep my eyes on the road. I got a button that I can transmit with, and I literally just sit there and spin the dial with my right hand. I can't believe what you can find. It's amazing. And so I love HF, and I love all of these OTAs. I think they're great. And we're going to all have to work really hard if we want to keep ham radio relevant for another 20 or 25 years. And I can't think of a single thing other than maybe cheap Chinese radios, because those have helped a lot too. But between the cheap Chinese radios and these on-the-air programs, we're trying to keep ham radio on life support. And now that HF radios are starting to be released by Chinese manufacturers, I think we're going to see a lot more people suddenly become involved in these activities, as well as contesting and things like that. So looking forward to all of it. Ham radio is great. Don't get bogged down with the politics. Just go have a good time. The moment you're not having a good time, find something else, because it's one of the biggest hobbies in the world, okay? There you go. My name's Ian. I hope this video helped you to find some other neat, cool, exciting ways to go out there and find people that want to talk to you on the radio. This is Starship Studios. My name is Ian, and this is Starship Adventures, and I hope to see you down the log or maybe out on our next adventure. 7 3s, everybody. Have a good one.